3 Points of Articulation podcast.
Live, pal.
We are live. Hello and welcome to the 3 Points of Articulation podcast, the LOH Takeover. As per normal, I'm your host, the big tasty Jamie Wills, joined as per normal by my co-host, Johnny Flashback.
Bonjour, bonjour.
And Adam the Wrestling Man. How are you both?
I'm well. How are you, Adam?
I am NWOK.
That's good. Well, let's have a look at our guests for this episode. Let's start with Clark, shall we? Clark Gilmore, you've gone from Chris Jericho's podcast to the 3POA. The next natural step is prison. How are you?
I feel a little bit underwhelmed now that, hanging with the stars and I've been dragged down to your level, but, it's what it's all about, isn't it? Giving it back to, the little people and stuff like that. But I'm also honoured to be joined by my Legion of Hasbro tag team champion, Johnny Flashback. So there's ups and downs, hanging with Le Champion last week, hanging with tag team champion this week. That's what I do.
Yeah. With no belt, though.
Not yet. They're on the way. So I think it's Chinese New Year or something like that.
So similar haircut though to Jericho. I've got the similar body, should we say? I haven't actually. I think he's a lot better shape than I am. Phil Rapley, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I must congratulate you on your awesome T-shirt, which I am also rocking. Slightly better fit on me, but
probably not the.
That's what happens when you go a size smaller. But yeah, very well, thank you, mate.
Probably not the same size.
I am currently monitoring the Legion Hasbro Facebook group. You have got Emma Hansen and Richard Sparks and Finn Weldon all giving you shout-outs live.
So we need.
Hi to those people.
Yeah, end the video.
And they are in for a treat when myself, Clark, and Shafts get together and invade your podcast. But yeah, thanks very much for having us.
No, thank you, Phil. Thanks for that, Phil. Shafi Mohammed, the Sultan, as we're on LOH. How are you?
Not too bad. My shirt's not quite as tight as Phil's, but equally as happy to be here, no doubt.
From wheels to wheels. What a fall from grace that must be for you. But what a show we've got. We got everything from free giveaways, which I've got stacks behind my laptop here, which I can't show you. We've got our usual news segment, which we'll get to in a second. We've got pick-me-ups, which we'll have a look at everything from the LOH prizes that we've got, as well as literally anything you can first with AEW. Phil's got some AEW to think of as well. And we've got a break it down segment about how the group came about. And finally, retro review, because who doesn't like reviewing some Hasbros? Let's start with some news, shall we, boys? Normally we have a bit of an intro here for the news, but we haven't got one, so I'll sing one. It's your favourite bit, Johnny. Don't try and lie. So you can guess the song first. Ha, 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 ha. I know this much is news. Let's start with Zombie Sailor Toys, shall we, boys? I'm going to come to you first on this one, Clarky.
I read the news today, oh boy. Sorry, I
was coming to you anyway, mate. If you want to carry on, turn it into your concert, you crack on.
That was only a matter of time until that happened.
Yeah.
It was going to happen.
The Jeff Jarrett.
There's no fee, so there's no music, I'm afraid.
It's too late for that. We're not paying you for that little bit, are we?
It's better than the last video he sent me of him strumming.
It's a family show, kids. It's a family show.
So Danhausen is the Zombie Sailor toy. You've had the figure box revealed. Clark, you pre-ordered quite a few of these, didn't you? Did you pre-order it just for the little bonus accessories pack that you get, or?
Yeah, I'll tell. I've got to be honest. I've never seen Danhausen wrestle. I follow him on Instagram, and I find his gimmick and his character dead cool and fascinating. I think I've seen him more on things like the Jericho Cruise, just pouncing about. But yeah, I've never seen him wrestle, but it just looks like a great figure. And I didn't want to miss out on the little bonus goodie bag. And, looking at some of the prices of some of these figures that have been out on limited runs, I just thought I'd better bite the bullet and grab some now.
figures that we haven't actually seen a single one of yet, which is
Correct.
Just to clarify. It's got to be the biggest. Well, how many figures have you seen renders for now? It's got to be in the 15, 16 mark.
For Zombie Sailor.
Mm.
Yeah, I suppose you had Series 1, plus the Jeff Jarrett, King Kong Bundy. I don't know, probably about 10 fully painted, maybe. But yeah, in terms of people they've signed and sketches and prototypes, yeah, it's getting up to about 30 figures, I think.
Which is the sort of opposite of Chella, isn't it? Who are just sort of churning him out left, right. Shafi, will you be picking up a Danhausen? Since Clark has about 5, you might message him.
Clark's on his own with these, to be honest. Yeah, not for me. I recently got into the retros. Probably a good time to get into them because they're a lot cheaper than they have been after the sort of pandemic spike and before the Mattel Creations drop next month. So fully into the retros and the cellos, but ZST is not really for me. Too expensive. Not massive fan of some of their business practices. I didn't really understand how the day after Danhausen was released, the price goes up by 10%. That was a really odd decision, business decision for me.
Because it's Black Friday, that's why.
Yeah, but it's not a good business model for your price to go up if you haven't sold enough on the first day. You know, it's kind of the opposite of what you would expect. And also the thing that I was almost tempted to go all in on ZST because I was a massive ECW fan back in the day, and they've got a lot of the ECW alumni signed. But the thing that just really confuses me is that they've gone all out to get Ron Rudat, the original Hasbro designer, yet the finished product looks nothing like the Hasbro's. Don't get me wrong, the Danhausen figure itself is brilliant. It's got lovely detail on it, but it doesn't look like a Hasbro. King Kong Bundy doesn't look like a Hasbro. Dino Bravo looks like a sex doll. They've aimed for one thing and ended up with something completely different. So no, Clark, you're on your own here, mate.
I agree with all of that, but I still bought them. I think I'm trying to convince myself only to buy the 4.5-inch figures. So whether it's Chella, Mattel Retros, Zombie Sailor Toys, otherwise I'll end up going down multiple other rabbit holes. So which probably end up costing me more money in the future. So I'm buying them. I'm going to wait until I've got some of them. And, you know, it's just that thought of like, you want to take a picture of, you know, King Kong Bundy in, you know, the $1 million corporation, and he just sits at the back, and if it fits in, it fits in. If it doesn't, then I'll have to get rid and get customs instead that are more Hasbro-esque.
And yeah, LOH is full of great customizers as well, which is always a treat to see, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus, I want to mention the guy quickly, Mike Nightingale, who's not a regular in LOH, but he does post some of his customs. Probably not someone that everyone's aware of, but his designs are fantastic. I wish the Zombie Sailor Toys were as good as his, because he's one that I would probably choose to replace some of mine with. His Dino Bravo's excellent.
There we go. So you've got.
So I got a couple of things from the people on LOH, Mr. Wells.
Oh, carry on.
Firstly, Patrick Ayres has said that the Danhausen to appear on the Sultan's Wheel rumours have now been squashed. That will likely happen. And the second one is from Ricardo Sparquez, who says, what is the worst new non-WWE licensed retro style figure? I hope that question makes sense.
I think we're all going to say Aldous.
I think we're all going to say Aldous. But this sounds like a great time for now that you've mentioned it. The question I'm going to ask for everyone, Legion of Hasbro, and Phil, get ready on the button with this one.
Yep.
Which Legion of Hasbro member does the artwork or the drawings of the Chella figures?
Do you want me to answer it?
No, I don't need to answer it, Phil. It's a giveaway.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like to win my own stuff. Don't you know
That
this?
would be a giveaway.
It's my stuff. It's my stuff that I'm giving away.
Is this it's not a giveaway from the guy we're talking about, or girl?
No, this is a giveaway from me, who is currently talking.
Because I have an exclusive Legion of Hasbro giveaway now that I can reveal that when we've got the right answer, this person has kindly donated A new giveaway. So yeah.
Oh, I bet this is going to shit all over my giveaway, isn't it? That's...
Emma Hansen has answered the question correctly.
Oh, perfect. Well, what could you want?
There you go.
So I'll do mine first, Clark, before you come in. So Emma Hansen has won the Nick Aldis Minton card.
Ooh.
And also the Joey Knight, signed by Tippy himself. Obviously, the correct answer was Brian Tippin Jr. So congratulations, Emma, or Riley, as it would be. You have won these two. Now, Clark, feel free to blow mine out of the water.
No. This isn't to give away right now, but I thought it'd be a good time to announce that Brian's very kindly donated one of his new Bam Bams, Doinks, and Dinks as giveaways. So maybe that'll be an early Christmas present for 1, 2, or 3 people on the group. And, look at that! There you are. Yeah. I love the double-sided idea is genius.
It's we'll talk about it a bit more in pick me ups, but yeah, my 2-year-old loves them. I love them. They're brilliant. So yeah, that's just a little interruption there for a little free giveaway. So congratulations, Emma, on there. Adam, your views on Danhausen? We haven't come to you guys yet.
Yeah, let's start off really positive. It looks like a cheap Poundland toy. The end.
Johnny flashback.
I mean, we did discuss it on the last podcast, so I'm not going to go into it too much detail. But I do sort of agree with Adam with that. The tattoos are too full on, etc., etc. But as I agree with Mohammed, the business practices have me completely bamboozled, and I don't want to really support it, if I'm honest.
There we go. That's
very cheap, very tacky, very expensive.
5 out of 6, not in support of that one. Go ahead, Phil.
Speaking of
we're losing you, Phil.
Has anyone got any good internet to give away to Phil?
We've been losing Phil for quite some time now. So we get Phil back. I'll tell you a quick anecdote from when I met Chris Jericho.
Did Phil speak over you during this time as well?
I can't see or hear him. But I asked Chris Jericho if Danhausen was joining AEW, and I can exclusively reveal he did not tell me. But they did say he was going to join. He's going to join Fozzy apparently. So watch this space.
Well, there we go. So that's breaking news on the 3 Points of Articulation podcast, and Phil is back with us.
Hello.
Woo! Thanks for that, Phil. What have you got for Legion of Hasbro?
Well, I was just we were talking about cheap and tacky stuff with the Danhausen. Is Flashback wearing a Bret Hart Christmas jumper, or am I imagining that?
You're very correct.
Oh,
light up.
Oh God. I'm so jealous.
Chris Jericho.
Oh, you never know.
I'm loving that.
Have you only wearing the sunglasses as well, Johnny? Have you got the?
No.
I do have the kids, but not in this room. I'd have to go fetch them or find them.
You could insert that photo of Johnny with Bret Hart in here if you want, Jamie, when you're editing.
I could. You very much could.
I was very out of shape and stuff at the time.
I know the feeling. AEW should we cut to next with Darby Allin's ringside exclusive. We haven't seen the images of this. It's more of a public service announcement, but it's a coffin drop exclusive, which I assume is going to come in a lovely little box like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy did before. But Phil, one you're going to buy?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I think it will likely be probably a re-release, repackaged. That seems to be the way they're going at the moment. But
can it be? It really can it be? That would be like suicide for the figure if it's just a re-release. They have to do something different.
Yeah, but they've done re-releases like with the Blood Brothers where they just splat a bit of blood on them and go, there you go, that's a new figure. It will be. I don't know. We've already had, what are we on now? 1, 2, 3, 4 Darbys already in a few series. So it'd be really, really strange for them to have a 5th one come out so soon. But yeah, absolutely, I'll be getting that. And hopefully it'll be in a good, nice, presentable box.
It's going to be all about the presentation, isn't it, this one? That's the only thing that's going to lure the average fan into it. I can see it almost being like him almost going down like that. Just some kind of, like the old WWF ones where they used to do the action ones with the finishing moves and stuff. Almost kind of like that, maybe.
Yeah.
An underrated toy line is the Finisher series from Jax. I used to love that. I had a Billy Gunn and a Eddie Guerrero, I think, doing a Famouser in the box. Looked lovely. Shafi, does this be one for the wheel or one for your collection?
I think I'm a bit torn on this. Obviously, as Adam said, it does depend on the execution. But as Phil said, we've already had 4 derbies. Do I need a 5th? I mean, to be fair, I've only got 1 at the moment. But I mean, eventually, I imagine I'll probably try and pick up the chase from the Unrivaled season. So yeah, I mean, the one positive thing I can say is that all of their ringside exclusives have been really good. Blood Brothers, Jurassic Express, the Lights Out for Britt Baker, they've all been brilliant. The Cody TNT. So yeah, I think it's going to be a suck it and see on this one. I think it's not released till like April though, so that will at least give a bit of breathing space after the Unmatched drops over here, maybe in January or February.
Be good to get it signed at Footlow as well. He's there, isn't he? Also, I think we've had 5 derbies already. 2, a chase from Series 2, normal one, Unrivaled is also, whatever. And Unmatched is also a chase as well. And we also got the 2-pack. Derby County.
The 2-pack is just a re-release of Series 3.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
No one's going to get my Derby County joke.
Yeah, you're trying to ram it down our throats, but
no, there we go. Wavelength. They're not football fans, Clark.
See, now you guys know why we don't laugh at him when he makes these things.
Because they are funny, Adam.
I've known that for a long time.
The biggest and best news to come out from the last few weeks has been the bone crunching wrestlers from Chella Toys, which I was at a 3-year-old's birthday party when I found the news, and I stopped what I was doing. I went outside and I read the whole thing. Just stop watching the kids. This is more important. Bone crunching wrestlers are coming back. Let's go to Clark first.
This is a tough one for me because I was getting into.
It's good news, Clark.
No, I'm backtracking because I was getting into all sorts of things when I'd completed the Hasbros, the retros, the Galoobs. I was at a loose end. I started the Bret Hart rabbit hole. I bought some LJNs. I've got about 50 BCAs. I've got no sentimental attachment to them, and a bit like the Bendhams that the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, and sorry, I had to give them a plug on here, are doing. It's cool. It's a novelty, but I don't think enough people have got an attachment to these lines to really flesh them out. A bit like the LJNs with Jax, and now we're seeing them with AEW. It might work as a one-off, but maybe not extensive series.
Phil, similar thoughts?
I couldn't care less, to be honest.
There we
I don't like the Bone Crunchers, and I don't really like the Major Wrestling podcast or whatever it's called either. So
I don't know, we're not talking about them.
No
well, I just looked around them and I thought, who should I come to next for a positive spin on this? But then I've got nothing.
It's not going to be me.
No. Let's come back to me. I love the news. I think it's great.
Okay, well, let's ask this then. Which characters are really missing in the bone crunching style that you think Chella could produce? Because that's really whether it's going to be worth doing.
I'll start. Blue Meanie, I think, is missing from that era. And I think Chella, with the retro release, would make sense for that. Chella have also said that the first reveal that they've got, something's falling down behind me, the first reveal that they've got is someone that's never had a wrestling figure before. That's all they've always given. Could be Barry Horowitz. Well, technically, he was the referee figure, wasn't he?
But I mean, I feel like the niche with retros and the niche with Chella and the niche with Zombie Sailor Toys is worth doing because the following of Hasbro's is so big. I mean, maybe this will work in the States more than maybe more for America than for England. And I'm not saying that I don't like bone crunching action. No. But I don't know. I just don't see it as being a big seller. It's already a small market over here, and most of the major characters either side have been covered by other lines. I don't feel like there's loads of essentials that cover that period that are missing, because they did quite a lot of figures.
We're going to get a Nick Aldis Bone Cruncher, aren't we? In
I
5
don't. Yeah,
variations.
If that's the first one revealed, then I will never buy another one after that. Hereby stand by that. Shafi, what do you think of the whole thing?
So obviously, pretty much the whole time I've known you, I've known that you love these BCAs things, and I don't really know what they are. A few months ago, I was visiting my parents' seaside town, found a little collectible store. They had all these old school figures. I took pictures of them. I messaged them to you and said, Jamie, are these any of those like BCA things you like? You're like, nope. I was like, okay, fine. Waste of my time. Now that Chella have made this reveal, I finally worked out what BCAs are, and I don't want them.
It's a good story.
I mean, from a selfish point of view, I wouldn't mind like a nice Brian Pillman, not like the rubbish ones that they did originally, or like a nice anvil to go with the Brett, Bulldog, and Owen. But are they going to be able to get those characters? Are they going to be able to get big names that are going to be able to pull people in? I'm not sure.
Anvil's a no, apparently. They've already been asked that. Anvil's a no.
It makes sense because he's, it's going to make the family's going to make the most money staying with WWE, aren't they?
Yeah,
Imagine
definitely.
it would be those already signed up for the first Chella releases. Probably they'll get dibs on a second one.
Oh,
So you
you
might have
also- We could get
chronic Bone Crunchers.
Adam
Yeah,
Bomb. I'll take an Adam Bomb.
Yeah, Adam Bomb, Al Snow, it kind of fit in.
Not a Tangaloa.
No.
I think this conversation is kind of leading to a place where we're thinking we don't really care, like, other than Jamie, like who gets released. It's almost like to say what they just do and how they come out. Honestly, I couldn't care who they do. I do want to see how they come out. But I agree mostly with Clark in his points made earlier without going on too long.
Well, Adam, my last saving grace. I thought I might enjoy this line. What's
I bought the very first series of these from QVC at about the time that I was kind of like, am I too old for buying these figures? Going through my little teenage getting onto stage. So I only really know them as a seller now, apart from that first series. And as a seller, you get them and they don't last the test of time. They're just lame. They're just boring and crap. So yeah, not one that I'm going to look forward to even seeing, to be honest.
So our next giveaway is for some Bone Crunchers.
Well, I'll tell you who not to give them to in the comments if you like.
Yeah.
Colin Campbell does not want Bone Crunchers.
I do.
Jay Moore does not want Bone Crunchers. And neither does Patrick Ayres.
Jay Moore was trying to sell some Bone Crunchers on the
Well,
last
that's why he doesn't want any more,
in
clearly,
your
isn't
house,
it?
saying how good the X-Pac figure was.
I've just realised I've made a massive mistake. Can we rewind and go back to the start of this segment?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
we've got some
super
BCAs
excited.
for sale.
I'm super excited about Jack's BCAs. One of the most underrated lines. And if you're looking to get into collecting them, I'll probably be selling mine next year.
Your collection goes up by a third.
Will you? Sorry, Jamie. Sorry to
No, you
completely
carry on.
boycott this thing.
It's
but
called an invasion,
don't
Phil.
often speak to Clark. It's only a weekend we spent together, But Clarky, will you be selling the Bindums, do you reckon?
I think probably not. They'll be one of the last things. If I go back to just Hasbro style, I'll probably be keeping the Brett and the Bendhams because they're the closest to what I like, which is new generation era. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one day just sell everything and grow up.
That's the plan.
You're a bit of absolute mint there, Johnny. Right, so the question for the LOH is, I want to know, who is this? Which Bone Crunching figure is this a representation of? It's a white t-shirt with "Come Get Some" on it.
I'm watching the comments.
Um,
I know who it is. I remember from a previous episode.
the conversation that we had where I was racking my brains as to who this could possibly be.
Mhm. Who is it?
Does anybody care?
Does
I wonder
Phil
how
even-
far we are behind. Here we got
Right.
a question. Gary Boone.
Gary Boone. What's Gary Boone said?
Billy Gunn.
Billy Gunn. Congratulations, Gary Boone. You have won a collection of 5 Bone Crunchers. You've got a Bob Holly in his Job Squad attire. You've got an Edge in his sort of weird mustache Chad Kroger from Nickelback attire. Ken Shamrock, the Billy Gunn, and you got Stone Cold Steve Austin with the Smoke and Skull belt. Boone. Lovely stuff. Right.
What kind of smoke and skull belt is that?
That is a foam one, I believe. I
Nice.
think I'm trying to remember what the company was called that made it. It was I think they were called something to do with Dusty Rhodes. I don't know what they're called. I'll go with Dream Customs. Crossbones Customs, they were called. So Dusty Rhodes came into it. Crossroads, I guess. Right, WWE is up next. So the Elite 92, which will be known as the released series, because majority of them no longer work for the company. Ric Flair is up first. Johnny, let's come to you on this one. More of a WCW Flair. Are you be getting this one? Is it for you?
Yes, I'll be getting it. I am a little bit disappointed that the trunks are yellow and not green, because I don't really remember wearing yellow trunks in that era. But otherwise, I think it's pretty good, and certainly an Elite in that era that is like missing. So 95, 96 kind of missing in terms of Ric Flair figures. So good choice.
Philip, what's your views on it?
Yeah, I think that's a good Flair. Good Flair to have.
It's a good David Flair.
I've got a soft spot for WCW figures that they market and brand out. So yeah, I like it.
Adam?
Yeah, I think it's the best that we're going to look at here. They've reused the head from the Battle Pack with the Giant, which is a great decision because it's a fantastic head. Brilliant shirt, 4 Horsemen, WCW microphone, 4 Horsemen hands. It's got everything it needs. Brilliant.
Sheffy, any opinions on old Richard?
Not really a lot to add, is there? I think, as Adam said, it's probably the best one out of the bunch. This is a very hit or miss series, isn't it? 92.
It's very hit and miss. Clark, we discussed it the other week on our pod about people being released. Does it enhance the sale of their figure or does it diminish it? What's your views on that? If you've got any, no pressure.
I don't think it's as important for someone like Ric Flair, who has just left the company again, and I'm sure he will have figures in the future. I mean, someone like Ric Flair is going to have his fans that will buy all his figures anyway, or big fans of that era. I think it's a great figure, not something that I collect, but I don't think it'll be the last Ric Flair Mattel you'll see released. I didn't answer the actual question there, though.
No, that's more than enough answering.
Got a correction on the Ric Flair trunks. Jack Lockley has commented saying he wore them in the Clash of the Champions, where he unified the titles and beat Sting with Sensational Sherry's help. So
there we go.
We got
Go flashback.
WC.
Told.
This live feedback's pretty good. We should do more.
Yeah, let's have Lockie sitting in the next room just shouting at me. You're wrong, man.
Aye.
Yeah, to go back to that point, I think it does make a difference for current wrestlers. People are still in the middle. The Adam Cole figures, I'm guessing, are going to go up until he starts getting his AEW figures out, and likewise with some of the other guys.
Well, so Adam Cole is the chase of the series. So we get two figures from him both being released. So you get the standard green, and you get the camouflage one, which is the chase, which matches then the rest of the Undisputed Era. From I think it's a War Games match they had just to complete that set. So, Scarlet Bordeaux. Let's have a look at this. It's not really like a flashback one, so obviously no one really collected that much in here. But Adam, let's come to you. Is it the worst head scan of the year?
It is shocking to give it that tiny little bit of leeway. She did look very different on the picture that they've modelled it on. She didn't look like Scarlet Bordeaux that we know. The eye makeup that she wore did make her look a little strange, but they've kind of extenuated that strangeness and made it 100 times worse than it could possibly be. I quite like the little timer accessory, but the figure is shocking.
Sheffy, you much of an NXT fan?
Not anymore, to be honest. I think like I used to watch
this
every
figure.
Yeah. I used to watch every takeover, but I think once AEW came and sort of filled that niche, I've definitely dropped off with NXT and don't really watch it anymore. I've seen a bit of Scarlet Bordeaux. Yeah, it doesn't look like her, does it? I would have assumed, having not seen a lot of Karrion Kross in NXT, it kind of looks like she's doing the Alexa gimmick from WrestleMania in this figure. That would be, as someone who's uneducated on this, that would be my guess. But obviously, she isn't. That's the Karrion Kross times up thing. But yeah, it's crap.
I think it was from a segment that when Finn Balor won the belt, she came out with that weird sort of, what's the word for it, like a lycra catsuit sort of. It was just the most awkward thing ever. She popped the little out at the timer down, and then off she pops. It was very strange. But anyway, yeah, more of the toyetic. Has anyone else got any opinions on that before we move on to the next ones?
No, move on.
Lovely. So more toyetic wise, we've got the Fiend, Burnt Fiend to be exact. Was it a needed figure, Phil? Let's come to you.
No. I'm not interested in the Fiend anyway, but a one-off Burnt. I mean, he only did one match in that look, didn't he? So no.
I don't think he had a match at all.
No, so
tipped up, didn't he? But I think if he was still in the company, probably is a good figure to have. But he's going to be off somewhere else, repackaged soon, isn't he? And that's the last.
The Menace
figure we're going to have. Yeah, the Menace is going to
the
appear.
Menace.
Dynamite, isn't he?
Ray Shyster, the Menace. Anyone else got any opinions on Burnt Fiend?
Yeah, I'll go. This figure serves as a reminder of how much WWE dropped the ball on this. When he did do the kind of burning gimmick, there was such a buzz on the internet about, oh, how's he going to look next time we see him? Oh, what's he going to be like? What's going to happen? And then it didn't. It reverted back to the Fiend. And the figure, I think, is necessary because a lot of people really wanted that as soon as it happened, but they didn't go anywhere with it, and that just sums up his career in WWE.
Yeah, that's my thought exactly. Don't really watch WWE, but I do watch some of the pay-per-views, and when I saw that character, I thought that will make a great figure, and it's made an absolute awful figure. I just don't think it looks great. It looks like a tennis ball that's been left out in the sun all summer. I think it's quite poor execution of what was quite an iconic moment in a career cut short.
Well, he's not dead. He's only the character is, but he still might come back.
Well, the Fiend, that particular incarnation of the Fiend. Yeah.
Just quickly, Wills, Colin Campbell is saying that he is more interested in the Fiend Christmas pop, which I've seen and does look pretty funny.
I saw one in Smith's yesterday. Looks lovely. Glows in the dark as well.
Then? No.
I didn't buy it. It was, to be fair, it was about 8 shelves up. And I wasn't getting a little part-time employee to get it down for me. And Charlotte Flair, Rey Mysterio, the other two in this series. Mysterio always makes good figures. Charlotte Flair comes with a title. No opinions on those.
The first ever superstar to have plastic surgery, so she looks more like her Mattel figures.
Oh, salty. Apparently the Fiend's not the only one handing out burns in this episode, is he? Al Snow, we'd covered in the last episode, but it's now since been revealed that Wrestling Trader will be having it as an exclusive on theirs as well. So
we already knew that.
We did, but obviously they fully announced it on there only 3 days ago. So I don't know how we would have known that.
Well,
no, did they announce the pre-order?
They announced it to begin with. That was being exclusive.
But I think the news this week was the pre-order date.
10th of December is the pre-order date.
Yeah, Clark knows.
Which is, I've literally just said the date. I've just said the date.
No
one else said the date.
With
I said
incorrect information.
I said the 10th of December. That's in 3 days. So
you never said that.
I've just said it now.
Rewriting history.
I rewrite the shows. I get to do the editing. So, Yes, 10th of December, Wrestling Trader. Look out for Al Snow. It comes with a head. Delightful. And that's it for news, boys. Pick me up time now. Should we move on to? Who should we move on to first then? Let's go to Legion Hasbro. Anything saying in the comments there, Philip?
Jay Moore says ouch, which I presume is at your burn comment. And Chris Reddy is talking about his about the last Fiend incarnation having parts of Brody Lee's outfit on him, which I didn't know.
There we go.
So the Bludgeon Brothers mask was apparently on his arm and stuff.
Well, that's nice.
Good info, thank you.
But in terms of pick me up, I can go for pick me
Go
up
on,
if you want.
Treat yourself.
I have got 4 of the 4. That was stupid. Let me rephrase that. I've got all of the Amazon AEW figures. However, with Christmas fast approaching, Alex has stole 2 of them to give for me. I presume she's not getting you anything. So
she
I
need
have
to.
got
She's a gift every day for me, Philip.
Oh, Jesus, why did I even bring it up? So we start with the SCU in red pants. They're pretty cool. I read something that there's something really cool on the back of Kazarian, but I can't remember what it was. I'm not going to open it. So, no, I don't know why they do things like that. Put things really cool on the back. So that's the SCU one, and then the other one is the really poorly timed tag team championships, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. And that's how long it takes them to come out, doesn't it? They've just had their little feud. It's been going on for 2 years, and we'll get the tag team versions of them.
Well, to be fair, I mean, SCU were out like 2 years ago, weren't they?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I've shown you this just before we went live, but the belts are on upside down as well because
naughty.
Because Jazz wears. That's annoying. And then these are, if people of LOH are wondering, this is a cool 2-pack. They are actually released figures already. That's the Omega Series 4 and that's the Page Series 5. So there's no point even opening them, basically. You're just buying them for the packaging. The Jericho, what's the other one? Mox
Darby.
Yeah.
Re-releases as well.
They'll be coming down my chimney on Christmas Day.
So with the ones that you've got, Phil, are you disappointed because they are very samey? Or is it just all about the displaying of them?
So the SCU one is all right, and I am half tempted to open the SCU ones because they've got different coloured pants. But the Mox and the Derby and the Hangman and Omega, that is just really, it's just the packaging, and that's what's worrying me. Like we were saying earlier, that's what's worrying me about the Derby coffin drop. I'm just worried it's just going to be a repackage. Yeah, it's good. They're good to store on the shelves, aren't they? They're easy to store. The Jericho looks awesome. There's no denying that. That's a great Amazon exclusive.
I would love to say that I won one and I've paid for it, but unfortunately I missed out on Shafi's Will last week for that one. And 2 of them. It looks great. It's a great figure, the Jericho one.
Just to throw this at you, Phil, like, didn't you say you're going to collect all AEW loose now? So is there much value in repacks?
No, so I'm going for you can't really see it, but there's the complete loose collection there, the chases, and I've got all the ringside exclusives because they're great. And then I was thinking the Amazon exclusives might be harder to get. You know, when their first wave came out, they were really difficult to get, and then Amazon just dumped a load in the UK about a week later. So I was a bit like, maybe not. But that's just Jazzwares. I won't know until nearer the time what to do with them, because they did that with the little bit of the bubbly when that first came out. That was impossible to get hold of, absolutely impossible. And then within a couple of months, they're sitting in independent toy stores, top shelves now. You can pick up a bubbly. So I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see what happens with the Amazon ones first, and if not, I'll open SCU, and the others I'll just. Yeah, they're going to be worthless. Put them in a King of the Quiz prize or something. Bonus prize.
We've seen it over and over again with Jazzwares, AEW, that just keep bringing more and more and more. It's like Series 2 of Jazzwares Unrivaled just won't go away. They pop up in home bargains now, you know, after the Bain and Smiths and every other toy store going. But back in the day, you couldn't even pick one up.
Yeah.
Well, literally this time last year, it was like the hottest thing. You know, the figures were going for 3 times retail, impossible to get hold of, and now they've overproduced everything to the point that there is no secondary market. They're literally worthless.
Yeah.
Does it remind you of Jack's by any chance?
It's lower demand as well, like because you just don't feel like you've got anything special, anything valuable. So, what's the point in collecting them?
So my first pickup is a Brandy Rhodes AEW figure. Thanks for that, Phil.
I've seen that.
It's one I was missing. So Phil's little claim sale the other day on Legion of Hasbro, and I picked it up. So thanks for that. It's shit.
Ooh.
Who's next?
To be fair, it's
I'll
probably the most
continue on the
valuable.
AEW theme.
It's probably the most valuable regular release unrivaled figure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh,
And
Adam.
Series 1 has kept a little bit of value.
I got the Cody exclusive through this week. This is really good. I was expecting it to be good. It's better than I thought. And to say it's Cody, and with the amount of figures that have been released of him, very impressive. I mean, we've spoken, Jamie and Jono, we've spoken about these on the side. The way forward, definitely. So you don't have anything looking crap in the front of the box.
He is
and
better with the shirt on, though. They should have put the shirt on him in the box because he is better with the shirt.
Yeah.
In
I
my
think
opinion.
it's representing the moment he won the title. So he
The
was
shirt
had
off.
the shirt off at the time. So
All right,
that'll be
smart ass.
well,
It's
that's what I'm
my
here
show.
for.
The variant as well of the Jurassic Express. I was going to call them Jungle Express then, like we do. Jurassic Express Luchasaurus is amazing. I was surprised, like, just how good that figure is. I'm still not sold on Jungle Boy, Jono.
Okay.
Has Johnny tried to sell them to you? Luchasaurus is quite a hard one to find on the shelves these days. I looked everywhere yesterday. I couldn't find one.
Just you wait, Jamie. Just you wait.
No, I bloody will. Shafi, well, you had some opinions earlier that we cut you off on. Series 1 of Jazzwares, I think you're making a point about the fact that it's still kept its value.
Yeah, probably Series 1A, because obviously they did a re-release, but they did a different numbering system, didn't they, on Series 1? So that's probably the one that has still got a bit of value. And Brandy was obviously never that widely available, but everything else worthless.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, 1B seems to be relatively hard to come across over here. I think it's just on Ringside they did it, wasn't it?
I think it was just Ringside they did him.
Crafty.
Yeah. I thought they were going to get released like worldwide, but we've seen them nowhere but ringside.
Did they do? You'll know this, being the figure experts that you are, and I really should know this. Did they redo the chases in 1Bs?
No.
They didn't.
No, good.
No, we checked that when they were announced. So that's one thing that plagued me. I think it'd annoy me if I was you've got the Jericho, haven't you, from Series 1? The Cody, sorry.
And the Cody.
Yeah. So sorry, Phil. So yeah, it'd annoy me if I was a collector and they re-released them.
Yeah.
Would do. Clark,
It would annoy me if I loved Jericho and hated Cody, but had the Cody chase and not the Jericho.
I've got them both. Didn't work. Didn't work, Clark.
I thought you were missing one.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, pickups for me. Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Go
Well, I've not picked up anything. Oh, I picked Chris Jericho up from the train station last week, which is kind of cool. I've just got
up at Greg's.
Yeah, and I've got a selection of things that I've got this month. This has been probably my quietest month for a long time of new stuff. But I did a little shout out to Dan Bassett, who provided me my latest LJN, Kamala. Quite hard to find. Did a little deal with him, and part of the deal was mint on card gold Aldous.
Goldis.
Which I didn't have. Yeah. Recently, I managed to pick up some of these. The purple pants, Nick Aldis as well. So I only
Is that purple or blue?
Oh, sorry, blue. Sorry. I bought recently. Recently, I also picked up a blue Nick Aldis, so only need the purple one now.
You got it in your hand, haven't you?
No, the purple one I need to get.
Oh, so what one are you missing,
with no
Shafi?
blood.
What one are you missing? 'Cause
Same.
Who's missing? You're missing.
We're
one,
all
aren't you,
missing purple, no blood.
I've got two.
Well,
Bye.
hit
Bye.
me up. Hit me up.
I need two.
What do you need?
Two.
What do you-
One to open.
Oh, he's keeping them both. He said.
Oh,
He's
you
just
need two.
He's just teasing us.
You're not going to open one now, are you? Though, looking at the prices
Probably not.
of, I mean,
I don't know. Eventually, maybe.
have you
When
got
we
two?
release them.
Have you got two of everything?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Two of each.
You've done a Willie Wilson.
He's done a
Should have
Noah.
got more.
No, the last thing that I got recently, which was kind of cool. I wasn't expecting to get this, but turn my camera around. I got from Phil Rapley a round post, blue post Hasbro ring, which he found in a job lot, and yeah, don't know where that's going to go, but much appreciated. I also got a couple of Ultimate Editions that I didn't have, but you know. I'm taking up all the time here, so we'll move on.
Clark's pickups.
Very good.
Shafi.
So similarly, I got something from Mr. Daniel Bassett in Tullymore, Ireland. He did me a lovely set of loose retros. I collect everything mock, but with retros, the bubbles and cards are so bad that they've actually converted me to collecting loose. So he did a nice little claim sale, and I got some of the retros from him, which is pretty cool. Speaking of how bad the retro bubbles are, I literally sent a retro to Phil in the post today, and the bubble fell off. So,
Which
Yeah.
retro was it?
it was only a Bray Wyatt,
Oh.
so not the end of the world. Speaking of Aldises, I got the bloody purple pants Crockett Cup version of Adam Bewley in the groups. So the same as Clark and a lot of other people just need the non-bloody version. So that's, and then be up to date on the Cellas. I saw a good Black Friday deal for these Ultimate Editions, the Rock and John Cena Series 10s. So I collect all of the Ultimates. I had a pair already, but one had a little bit of damage and one had a loose bit in the box, which I was sold on to Jamie for a nice little deal, and upgraded my ones to slightly nicer ones from Superpower Toys. Similarly, along the Ultimate Edition line, also got the Sergeant Slaughter. Got an amazing deal on this from Rock and Roll Collectibles. So with the pre-order from Mattel Creations a few months ago, I was there 10 minutes early. I was ready. I got them in the basket,
I remember this.
and the payment page kept crashing, so I missed out. But they did me an amazing deal on that one. And finally, before Clark slips into a coma that he may never recover from, got this from the newest member of the admin team on LOH, a graded Hulkplex Hulk Hogan, which completes my collection of Hasbro Hogans, the 4 main release line ones and the mail away.
Lovely stuff.
Wow.
That
Nice.
sort of makes my
No, I'm just moving around, putting all my stuff back. Sorry, because my wife will shout at me.
Carry on.
Makes mine feel a bit inferior now. I just had the one brandy. Oh, tell a lie. No, I had the doink that we discussed earlier. So we'll come to you in a second, Johnny. Hold your horses.
You should never just have one brandy.
You shouldn't. No. Well, I've also got another thing I'll go with in a second to go with the old brandy. But
I've got 2 brandies as well.
That it?
you're odd. Yeah, Doink the Clown and Dink, we got from Brian Tippin from the groups. We covered a little bit earlier. Amazing detail on these. You're scared about the double-sided Doink. And Dink comes a little hammer on the back. Great detail. Come flat packed. Thank you, Brian. They're still available. Drop them a little message if you fancy a little deal on those. Johnny.
Well, I think I'll just kick off with the best thing I've received all year, and that is the championship belt of the Fantasy Wrestling League. So this is the most prestigious title in the whole of Facebook. So, so I won the main event league. I won the up, up, down, down championship, which is like a weekly defense, almost like a open challenge type deal. And of course, the overall leader, which is the highest points out of all the leagues, really, and picked up the Series 6 of Unrivaled. So that was courtesy of Big Pop Shop, who sponsored the league. So they're all there. I won't bore you with seeing all of them. MJF, Jericho.
There you go.
You know the drill. But of course, the main event is the championship belt, the mini belt, and what a cracker it is.
You cleaned up this year, Jono. Well done.
Yes. I also won the King of the Ring as well, so just to add that to me, quadruple of achievements for the FWL season.
I came second and got a Greg Valentine chase, which in a normal scenario would be an excellent figure, but feels a bit inferior now, Johnny.
Well, you were miles behind, and you got really lucky in the end to get second in the main event league anyway.
Is this the part where we flex our competition wins? Or
but this is the FWL section.
What have you got? What are you flexing?
I'm just joking. The 3-time quiz champions just joking with you guys.
The Survivor Series team.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only one that's got prizes. The Husband and the Warrior from the Talkers section. To shame the rest of the team's got any prizes yet.
Here's mine.
Adam, I sent yours today, first class signed for, so hopefully have that tomorrow.
Cheers, buddy.
Sorry for the delay.
All right.
Been hanging with stars like Phil Rapley and Jay Moore.
Jack
Lockie, Sarge, and Kelly.
Big names.
Yeah. Anyway, FWL, we are starting again soon for FWL 2022. Obviously, if you want to be part of that, have a talk with Adam and he'll set you up.
It's good fun, and we all enjoy it. So come on over if you think you're hard enough.
I spent quite a lot of time researching my picks for the Legion of Hasbro one, looking at who wrestles the most, win percentage, and I'm like 5th from bottom, so I'm out.
The thing is, though, with the regular one, you can do regular transfers in and out, and you can see what's happening week to week. You don't need to have much. Well, you do have to have forward thinking, but not as much as the Legion of Hasbro type competition we do on the side.
But now, boys, it's time for our Break It Down segment, which is about the Legion of Hasbro. So Robbie was supposed to schedule to be on, was obviously not here. So let's speak to Phil. Let's go over straight away for actually. Let's have a look at the comments from Legion of Hasbro. What are they saying?
There's well, we're trying to decide whether Shafts has got the chase Sergeant Slaughter because he didn't actually explain. He just showed us it.
Showing his hat.
But he's blue one. He's never going to tell us, I don't think. So we'll have to play it cool. No, that's about it. Just lots of nice thumbs up and interactions.
Thumbs up interactions. That's what you want.
I'm going to put my money on that he has got the chase. Otherwise, he would have just said it's just a regular one.
Oh, so you haven't opened the box to find out?
You haven't?
You can open it. The box is resealable.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing if you've opened it or not.
All right, so what's the deal?
That one is just the regular one.
It's just a Velcro strip.
That one.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have the chase.
Of course he has the chase.
It also doesn't mean that I don't have the chase. So yeah, Legion of Hasbro boys. How did it come about? How did Phil and Clark originally worm their way into the group? Phil, let's start with you. How did the LOH come about?
Well,
I think we're missing the original member, aren't we?
Well, that's so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So originally, there's two sort of chapters to LOH. I think originally Robbie created the group with, we'll say we all know who it is. It's Aiden. Aiden and Robbie created the group together, and they did a great job of running it for a long time.
Well, we don't know that because we weren't in the group at the time, so don't lie.
No, but they're watching.
I was.
All right.
Well, only one of them is. The other one's not allowed.
Only one of them is watching, yeah. Anyway, and during the pandemic, the first lockdown, obviously all the wrestling groups increased in size and members and stuff, and Clark and I weren't too far behind joining the admin team with each other. But from what they were doing, very concentrating on buying and selling and trading, they sort of were lacking in sort of engagement and stuff. I think Robbie would admit to that. So Clark and I came on board and kind of spun it into chapter 2, which I'll hand over to Clark. Where is he on the screen? Because I want to point to him like we're in the Brady Bunch. Oh, he's there.
It's the other side for me. You're pointing at Shappy. Go to the other side.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a sketchy
Beautiful
version. Basically, the group
they're called on the spot version.
The group used to exist years ago. Aiden and Robbie started it, and they had it. I think they were doing a lot of like posting videos of wrestling stuff and pictures and stuff like that. And the group actually got closed for a while and mothballed, and then it got resurrected. And when it got resurrected, it was one of the least sort of on the scene active ones, and it was trying to build a bit of a following. So during the pandemic, I got really active in buying wrestling figures, selling wrestling figures, probably too active, like posting too much. And they thought that I was posting more than the admins, so I should come on board and help stimulate discussions and stuff like that. And then we started doing competitions and giveaways. And, one of the big things on Legion of Hasbro is building a kitty, which is basically, just a bank balance that we can then use to buy things to give away. And it's not for profit. Obviously, we all have our own collections that we buy and sell, but the stuff that's put up for sale or competitions is, goes back into recycling it and keeping the thing interesting. So when I came on board, I realized that not a lot really changed because I still had the two other guys and me, and I was just posting a lot. So I said Phil would be a good person to bring in because he'd already done the pilot of the quiz, and he was, again, active, keen, buying and selling a lot, and someone that I spoke to nearly every day anyway about wrestling figures. So when we got Phil on board, we started to kind of get a framework of what we wanted it to be, and that was, more of a community and a go-to place for people who are kind of obsessed with retro figures initially, and it's sort of branched out a little bit.
Because that's the thing with the interaction side of things, because you see Facebook groups every day setting up, don't you? I think Martin Harris has about 15 of them every day he set up. So you see like all the different groups set up, and none of them seem to be as active or to be as giveaway friendly as the Legion of Hasbro is. I think that's the foundation of it. Is just that it gives back to the community as well as.
Well, we started doing the quiz. That was our kind of first big sort of launch pad for doing something for members to get free stuff. And some of the prizes we gave away in that first year were ridiculous, like Adam Bombs and Hulk Hogan's Macho Man, or Macho King, was it? I think so. It's good prizes.
Yeah,
and of course, we had a little run of Series 7 that Johnny Flashback won. And, we basically saw the other groups. There were some groups that did really good sort of raffles and things like that. But that's all they were doing. And there were groups that were doing really bad versions of that where it was all about taking as much money as possible. And there were other groups that weren't doing that, but as a result, weren't getting any interaction. So we tried to kind of cover all bases and, something for everybody. So people that like to get involved in winning stuff, but also people that just want to share their collections or, what they're up to. And it quickly got to the point where we needed other people on board to help monitor it, but also, want to do stuff like in your house. And the people that were already running the group didn't have anywhere near enough time to give up. So bless you.
Sorry.
Gesundheit.
Yeah.
So that's when we decided.
Mute though, Johnny, didn't you?
I was trying to find the mute button, but I didn't get there in time.
Yeah. So inevitably we had to bring other people in. So we got Dan Bassett in, Gavin Denny.
So that's what happened, Clark. He was actually allergic to the thought of Dan Bassett was about to come up, and it set Johnny off.
But from day one that I saw him in the groups, I wanted the Sultan in the team. It took me a long time to get him, but we finally snared him,
broke him down. Because you offered.
So if I can, sorry, just really quickly, because it relates. So Jack Lockie is asking the question to the LOH people: how do you become a member of the admin team on LOH? I don't know if he's asking for himself or just asking in general.
Point and argue with decisions, Lockie.
It's a good point, because what Clark was saying, when we had to bring more people in, everything that happens in LOH, every single thing from a post, say Flashback puts a post up, or if people are arguing in comments, or if there's some discrepancies about a price or something,
somebody posting inappropriate content.
Yep.
I thought that's aimed at me.
Yeah, it was definitely about you.
they all get reviewed, and it all gets discussed by the admin team. So what we look at when we need to expand, we only add people when we need to expand, when we've got more members than is manageable. So for example, at the moment, I think we're 1,100 members. So it's just over 150 members per admin person to sort of look after. Then it works out. So when it gets more than that, then we look at more people. But we want like-minded people who will communicate with us every day. And I mean, it's every day. It's every breakfast. It's every lunch. It's every dinner. It's non-stop communication. That's why we brought Bassett in, because he was very good at communicating.
He was already talking to us non-stop anyway, so it'll be easier if it was all in the same chat.
He'd already weaseled his way in, hadn't he? We hadn't just ticked the box yet.
I suppose it's like it's like if you've got a WhatsApp group of guys you play football with or go to the pub with. So we're all constantly talking about what we could be doing or this week. So it's quite a tight knit thing and it involves a lot of being available. So I don't think you'd want to be in the LOH admin if you knew what was involved.
Well, it's the same as us with the
person to ask.
Oh, go ahead, Phil. No, you carry on. You keep talking.
I'm not used to these team chats, mate. The best person to ask about what it's like or want to be an admin is probably Shafts, because he's the newer of us three, and he'll tell you what it's like from joy, because he was. I think I'm right in this, aren't I? You weren't in LOH very long before we picked you up and brought you into the team. It was only a couple of months, wasn't it? And then, from then on, he's kind of like he's the boss.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was probably in LOH maybe 5 or 6 months. Before that, I know Jamie from outside of LOH, from other groups and from other claim sales. And generally, I only really got into collecting maybe just over a year ago, but quickly sort of got to know a lot of people and network with a lot of people. So I was used to communicating with lots of different people on a regular basis anyway. And I'd been very active in different groups. But the thing that I found is that LOH is so different from every other group, because as Clark said, maybe you have groups who do amazing raffles, but what typically happens is people will turn up for the raffle for 10 minutes a day and then leave. Or you'll have groups which are very active for buying and selling figures. But people only turn up when they want something or when they want to get rid of something. And during the pandemic, that was great, because it was probably more active than ever, the hobby. But since lockdowns ended, you'll see a lot of, particularly the modern figure groups, their interactions just completely died. The thing that, you know, sort of attracted me to LOH is that, if anything, I think that our interactions have gone up. You know, we do, like, you can, if you click on this, you can see how many posts we have compared to other groups, and it's like 3, 4, 10 times groups with the same amount of members. I think that was probably because initially I didn't want to be a mod or be an admin. When Phil reached out, I was very sort of hesitant, and, you know, I said I need to think about it, because I think when you get involved in running things, then it can affect your relationships with people who you see as your peers. You know, sometimes there can be animosity, or you can be seen in a different light, and that was something that I really didn't want, because I got on with so many people, but ultimately came on board because I thought that I could help make it better. I could help in certain areas. And I think the makeup of the admin team now is so much different than when I joined. I think that the people that we have are all very like-minded. We're all very much about pushing a community feel, about how much we can give back, about, you know, giveaways and the quiz and everything else, about making partnerships with businesses to give away prizes. So Clark's right, you know, you probably wouldn't want to be a part of the admin team because your phone is blowing up all the time. It is the worst paid job I've ever had.
You get paid?
No, I don't get paid. You know, it's the worst paid job I've ever had. You deal with stress and issues that you never would imagine you would have to deal with. You know, and so much goes into events. Like Phil will tell you how much goes into a quiz. Running a claim cell, it's weeks of work. You know, it's weeks of preparation. It's maybe only an hour or two on camera, but then you've got another week of packing everything. So yeah, you wouldn't want to be a part of it, but I'm more than happy that I am, and to give a little bit back to the community.
Yeah, and it is a hobby, isn't it? And if you want to cultivate a hobby with a community, and so the benefits are for everybody, then you've got to put time into it. You know, it's like a football coach. You know, if he puts pre-season in, and then after the first game you get beat 5-0 and he quits, you know, that's not what you're in it for. You want to see those players develop and give them a chance to get out and play football or whatever. So it's the same with this, you know, like I'll get hold of stuff that I want, and I'll sometimes try and get hold of stuff that other people want. And I've got stuff at amazing prices that I know people could charge me twice, and likewise I've sold stuff, you know, for great prices that I could have charged twice for. That's what a collecting community is for. It's not always about the bottom line, which, when you really think about it, you know, the profit that you sometimes make on something, you can make that in like working your job for an hour, you know, but you can get so wrapped up in the profit and selling and making, you know, you go, well, what's the real benefit? You know, you made 20 quid on that. Well, blow that in a Chinese takeaway tomorrow night in 5 minutes. So it's like
small portions.
I mean, speaking about the money, I think I've definitely lost, like being an admin or being a mod has cost me money. Like I haven't made money out of it.
Oh yeah, I've rinsed you. I've absolutely.
And even like with the quiz, all of the bonus prizes are out of our own pocket. You know, that doesn't even come out of the kitty, does it? That's just stuff that we take out of our own collection and send out to people.
But then that's, so, you know, sometimes you buy like 4 or something because you can get it cheaper if you're importing it or something. You sell the 2 that you don't need, and then you end up getting one that, okay, you could sell it and make a bit of money. But, you know, if you're running the group, it's sometimes good. You go, I've got it lying around. It's not cost me anything. Give it to someone else. You know, happy days. So
it's the same with the FWL. Obviously, you have weeks and weeks going to events. So that's one reason with this. If we've got an AEW pay-per-view coming up, we'll go over all the different competitions that we'll do and sort of how we'll market. And then between the 3 of us, we'll go through it. So imagine it's the same with you guys. When you sort of, one of you would have an idea, run it through the other ones, you then got to essentially bottleneck it into making it into an idea, really. Is that how it works with stuff like the wheel and in your house? And
except the 7 of us.
Yeah.
You can imagine. but it's either all 7 of us are on song, or we're split down the middle sometimes, and that's why sometimes the more the merrier. But yeah, like Sultan said, it's a lot better working now than it used to be, the whole group. So But yeah, every little thing that you see on LOH from any of the admin teams has been cross-analysed by all 7 of us. No one ever just goes rogue and posts things. So.
No, plus you also
Every bit
learn.
is a discussion.
You also learn to know when to push and when to just go. You know what? It's a good idea. Or if someone's passionate about a certain idea, let them do it, because that's ultimately what it's about. You know. So yeah, I mean, we all learn to work better together, I think, than we used to. A bit more chilled out now.
And Phil's quite good at convincing you to do ideas, hence the live episode. Adam or Johnny, any questions for the boys on the LOH?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say that for myself as much as Adam could, but like, we know the sort of the money that Adam's pumped into FWL, so we know what you're feeling about being the lowest paid job ever, because as an admin, you don't get prizes or whatever, so you are in the minus financially, and no one knows that better than Adam, and sometimes goes a bit thankless, so I thought I'd point that out as well.
Go Adam.
Yeah, it can be a really thankless job. I mean, I was talking to somebody earlier, and I screenshotted him some messages that people had sent me that had like been with us for a couple of years, and it was just so negative and just so kind of pointing out all the things that they hadn't liked. And I imagine you guys get that a lot from people messaging you with negatives, which is definitely hard to deal with. When you have occasions where you have to deal with something quite major, do you do a kind of, if you've got 7 of you, do you do a kind of, if 4 people say it, you go with it type of thing? Or do you have to all 7 agree with stuff?
Depends what it is. That's really difficult unless we know what it is. But
yeah.
I think up until recently, we did have it set more of a sort of admin team and the mods. And so sometimes it would get deferred up to the admins, which, you know, more recently was just me, Phil and Robbie, which was easier to make a decision. But we didn't really feel that was fair anyway. So we try and, I mean, most of the time, there's only 1 or 2 people that might have a different opinion. It's not always the same people, but it might just depend on the day or the type of thing it is. But generally, it's not hard to come to the right conclusion.
So if it's kicking off in the comments, for example, between Colin Campbell and Emma Hansen, and it's all kicking off.
Ooh, those 2.
Yeah, those 2 are butting heads about something. Do you guys then sort of say we need to sort this out, and then you decide to turn the comments off, or does one of you take the ball by the horns? And
so yeah, usually it depends who spots it first. Like Bassett works the night shift because of his baby, so he'll pick things up at 3 in the morning or something and start the ball rolling. But yeah, generally what we'll do is we'll just point alert to each other and say we better keep an eye on this. Usually it's you, Jamie. You said something, and we've got a flag come up, or Jay Wills has, or Jason Willis has, or something. And one of your aliases has come up with something, and we go, we better keep an eye on this because A, it might offend people, B, it might get the group closed down, because that's our ultimate fear, is that the group will get closed down by people's actions.
Don't tell them.
Don't tell them. Yeah, that's true. And sometimes as well, it's like playing a little bit detective, trying to spot what we think is going to be a scammer or someone who's not going to go through the deal or something. So yeah, but everything is done between us all together. None of us go rogue, none of us do it on our own. So it's a big
and normally at any given time there's 2 or 3 people who are dealing with it, and the other people aren't there. You just, you've got to trust the people who are actually there looking at it to make the right decision. That's why you're brought in, because you trust that person to make the kind of decision that you would want them to make. So you can't be too. You get nothing done if you're looking for 7 people to all say yes before you did anything.
I mean, ultimately, it's all about having the same vision, isn't it, for the group? It's about a safe space where everyone's welcome. Ultimately, to talk about the things that we enjoy. And if we're all following that mantra, then there are rarely disagreements, I think, or things likely to be dealt with differently between us.
Just in general, just don't be a dick seems to be the general consensus of it, which is which is good.
Well, it is such a positive.
Sounded very negative.
No. It is such a positive group. Just, I mean, you obviously deal with the negatives in the background. From me, just kind of seeing like the ins and outs of the day-to-day comments and things, it's 99% positive. So you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I think that's obviously massively down to our members as well, isn't it? We obviously attract the right people and boot the wrong people, I think.
Sometimes it just takes a little message to say to someone that, you know, you might see that on other Facebook pages or groups where it's a free-for-all and it turns into a mess. But sometimes it just takes a message just going, we don't really want that kind of thing going on. So, you know, do it somewhere else, or, you know, think about the other person sometimes before you lay into them. You know, it's like the internet can be brutal. So it's nice to have a place where people think a little bit before what, you know, they say something nasty.
And to be honest, having been active in a lot of different online communities such as gaming and things like that, I found that actually figure collecting is probably the least toxic, you know, compared to places like Twitter or some of the messages you might get over, you know, PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. Or
the other thing is, you don't know when you're going to need to buy or sell something from or to someone. So if you burn all your bridges early doors, no one's going to sell you something. And if it's the other way around and they've got something you want to buy, you're going to be too embarrassed to message them about buying it. So you've got to make friends. That's why it is like a community vibe, because you'll need favors and people want favors from you. So it's mutually beneficial.
Particularly in the Hasbro world, where you can't just go to the shop and buy what you're looking for.
Hasbro's and different area codes, as they say. No one says that, just made it up. Phil, what's Legion of Hasbro saying?
What's what? Sorry.
What's LOH saying?
Forgotten what it is.
In the comments.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were just speaking some Cornish slang to me then.
Ask who your favourite members are.
My favourite members are, that's harsh to play. Oh, my favourite member, probably like Jamie Wills, is Alex Rapley.
Yeah.
There you go. Followed second and only just by Clark Gilmore. He's my second favourite. And yeah.
It's a good list. It's a strong list.
That's a very strong list. And then a part of that, people just, general chit chat. I mean, Bassett's in the chat, so it could be. Yeah.
Is anyone commenting? I think that's what Jamie Wills was getting at.
That is exactly what I was getting at.
Well, I just literally replied to you about that, didn't I? Like, this is going into a 7-man discussion now about whether Clark's bullying me or not.
So
take it to the group.
So yeah, in conclusion, boys, I think the general consensus is the Legion of Hasbro is one of our favourite Facebook groups, mainly because it's just a nice space. That's what I will say about Legion of Hasbro. Even though I don't fully collect Hasbros.
I think after this month, it's going to be even more welcoming for you and Mr. Fenton. After this month, the Sultan will be retiring from the quiz.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
So,
and why is that?
Well, because as Adam said, and you know, ultimately for us it's about giving back to the community, and it's a bit awkward if I keep winning the prize every month, because I just have to find convoluted ways of giving it away. So it's easier if I just don't enter and help with the questions instead. So this is the last month that I will be playing. I believe we've got one coming up. I won't drop the date because that's obviously up to Phil. But it will be you both, obviously 2-time champions. I'm of course a 3-time champion. So it's a chance for one of you to catch me up before I retire. So that's the gauntlet well and truly thrown down to you both.
It's going to be a Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, sorry I love you moment, isn't it? He's going to finish him off. Not in that way.
Jamie Wills promised to finish me off. Awesome. Better than any quiz prize I've had.
That's that would be quite a distraction to let Johnny Flashback win the quiz.
Let me.
I would.
No one let me.
Fight and talk.
No, to be honest, we might actually get some decent questions if Mohammed joins the question writing crew. Might be actually have some decent spelling.
I'll proofread them at least.
Top banter.
To
Right.
be fair, I do have a proofreader who also got questions wrong.
I might have to go back to contributing questions as well, because it's become a little bit like WCW heavy and rubbish obscure attitude era
Do you know what
heavy.
it is? It's
You know,
maybe
when you get back to the core values of the group, which is 90s WWF wrestling.
Can I just clarify a point here, since you brought it up, right? This is what happens usually with the quiz. So I'll say on, say, the 1st of December, I'll say, no, I won't use December because you'll get the dates mixed up. 1st of October, I'll say, on the 22nd of October, we're going to do the quiz, guys. And they all go, cheers, man. Cheers, 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 cheers. Clark says, I'll give you 5 questions, which he sends to me at 2 o'clock on the 22nd of October. Once I've already, and this quiz, that program tool I use, it isn't just there to look pretty. I have to program all the questions in and stuff. It takes ages. It takes like 10
it takes ages for you to absolutely bastardize the questions so they no longer make sense.
That retro question that you submitted, Clark, that was just the most head-busting thing I've ever known.
I can give you the exact text. I've saved them all in my Apple Notes, so I can give you the exact text, and you can compare them to how they appeared on the quiz, and I can tell you they are very rarely the same.
But there is only like 30 words you can put in, and your
you meant to
questions
tell
are
me that.
always
Give
like,
me a brief. Give me a brief.
Anyway,
should we move on to retro review, should we, boys?
Sorry, we slipped
night.
into the admin chat there.
I think Shafi slipped into a coma, to be fair, looking at him. Right, should we move on to some retro review, should we, boys? Which is obviously our favourite segment, where we look at all the Hasbro figures from the whole series, give them a score, combine them with LOH, and we'll find the best one in total. Another thing we're very interactive on with LOH. Johnny, let's cut across to you on this one.
Yes, so everyone get your Series 7 Hasbro figures out that Jamie was told to tell you to bring.
I sent Phil the picture. What did you say, Phil?
I said thanks for telling us which one Series 7 Hasbros were.
You said thanks for telling us LOH bigwigs, which Series 7, which figures are in Series 7.
No.
All I was doing was pinpointing which figures to bring.
So anyway, I posted the league table earlier. Did any of you guys see it, or?
I did. So I did. Plus we get notifications when someone liked it. I think Big Finn Weldon liked it. So saw that.
So we had a breakthrough in the top 10, which hasn't really come for a while since Series 3, I believe. And Papa Shango is in at number 7.
Ooh.
And not even the terrible Ric Flair was able to beat Shawn Michaels to the bottom spot. So the Rock of Shawn Michaels is rock bottom.
It's a shame, because Ric Flair deserves better than that, I think.
Yeah, I think I boosted him a little bit. And due to a certain extent.
I don't mind the Ric Flair. It's underrated.
I think
it looks a bit like Leslie Nielsen to me.
Exactly what I said.
It's just become like a standard go-to lazy answer for people.
Yeah. To trash for no reason.
Yes. Because he looks manic like he did when he was in WWF. He's just a bit skinny.
Yeah.
You can picture it saying, with a tear in my eye, and doing the whole promo.
Exactly.
Just a bit of a crimson mask on him or something. It'd be lovely.
Yes. Right. So the first one we're going to look at this week is the Corner Crush. Oh, Jamie's got him. Jamie's actually button get these figures out of the loft.
This figure is courtesy of Scott Schofield, who gave them to me for free. So big shout out to Scott. I used to love this figure when I was a kid. One of my favourite ones. I think this action is my favourite action, the perfect action for it. Mallet white. It looks a bit like Brian Connolly. I always used to think as a kid.
It's a puppet.
It's got the teeth and mouth like that.
Yeah, Brian Connolly-esque. But all in all, I still love it, and it's my favourite backing card figure combo, on a side note.
Mine is actually not in as good condition as I thought it was. It's got a couple of little scuffs on the logo, and the action's a little bit. I'm going to describe this as sandy. Do you ever get an action that's a bit sandy? It's like sandy. It just you're making fun of me, Wills. No, it just feels like
have a drive-in movie.
There's a little bit of grit in there somewhere. I don't know. It just feels like it could do with like oiling, but except I wouldn't oil my Hasbro.
It's probably all the coconuts that he's been crushing.
Yeah, you know what? But it could be sand getting the coconuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all in all, good figure. Shafi has come across to you.
Yeah, I like the mullet. Pretty good. Pretty accurate depiction of what he was rocking at the time. A pretty terrible character, let's be honest. Probably the most iconic thing about it was getting smashed by 2 doinks at WrestleMania 9. But yeah, I'd probably go 7.5 on this one, I think.
Straight with the scores. Adam.
Sorry, did I jump the gun there, Jamie?
Oh, you do what you want, mate. It's a Tuesday evening. You carry on.
Yeah, it's so toyetic with the colours of it, and I completely agree with your comment, Jamie, about the backing card. I was going to make that as well. The kind of yellow and purple compared to the yellow backing card just works. I think action-wise, it's definitely really playable. I really like the action. I know a lot of people, when they customise the crush, they do it with the Hogan arms to mimic the crushing of the head, which it wouldn't be as playable. I do like that, but it wouldn't be as playable. I really like the face. He definitely made that kind of teeth gritting action quite a lot. It's a good figure. It's a solid figure.
Philip,
I kind of forgot I had the backing card, the carded version on me.
the one that you bought out. We bought it out 5 minutes ago.
I know, and I still forgot. It makes me think that I've got a bit of a defect on my loose one, which is a bit lame. I think we might hit you with a score.
Oh, let's go on to Philip first. Let's see what Phil has to say.
God, Phil.
Did you know?
Yeah,
Crushed it. Interesting fact about Crush anyway. In my car, I've got the my CD player's broken, so this is just permanently on shuffle. And I've got the Superstars CD where the first song's the WrestleMania, that one. Yeah, this is our life. Pump it up, pump it up. Anyway, track 10. Yeah, track 10 is Crush. There's a little song on it, and it's the worst song I've ever heard in my life. It's just him, just with little sound bits being like, I am Corner Crush. I will destroy coconuts. So yeah, doesn't diminish the figure, but interesting side note for everyone.
Not a fact.
Not a fact, but it's an 8.4 for Crush from me.
The attire's not exactly accurate, though, is it? I don't think he wore this exact. So, which is fine because Hasbro's weren't always. But I love this figure. I think it's great.
Sorry.
I think it's some of the detail lower down of some orange on it, maybe more orange. But
maybe.
Anyway, I would have liked the Hogan. Now I've seen that. I think that would have been cool. But I do love this figure. I think I gave it an 8 on the group. I can't remember. So I'm fickle.
I can't remember either. Sorry, guys. I couldn't pull up your scores.
Well, Clark didn't actually score this one, so.
Oh.
but you did like it, so.
I've had a busy week.
Well, let's cut across the Legion of Hasbro comments then. So Gavin Lee Castleton said, I like this figure, good likeness to the character. Was a bit disappointed in the fact that they did the evil version the same way, but from a personal point of view, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It was much better than the Demolition model.
Nice. I've actually got a live comment. This is from Jay Moore. So Crush is one of my favourites. Colourful, fun, high mark for sure. Should have had a crushing action, but for what it is, it's an 8.5. So that's from Jay Moore.
Like it.
I'm actually, because I looked at it on card and how good it looks on the yellow card, I'm going to mark it a bit higher than I was going to, and I'm going to go for a straight 9 on this one.
We had to go
so really that, good on card.
Again, Jamie?
So he's had a go at us for that before, hasn't he?
For what? Straight numbers?
No, for using the card to improve the score of the figure.
No, you can score it however you like.
It's an 8.4 for me.
Oh, copycat.
Copy Jamie.
Philip, what's your score? Is Phil still with us, or is he?
I am giving it a flat 8.
I think he was communing with his God, making sure he was making the right decision there.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Hear me now. I'm giving it a flat 8, please.
We'll move on to the other one I've got card and another LOH quiz win. It's Kamala. Everyone must have a Kamala.
I actually don't know. I haven't been given one, so.
I even had this as a kid, which is surprising.
I had it as a kid. You notice a lot more as an adult on this figure than you didn't really notice as a kid. If that makes any sense to you guys. Like, as you watch Kamala wrestle now, I think the skirt makes complete sense on it. I like the fact that the necklace is on. I like that. I'm not bothered about the moon belly. It doesn't faze me in the slightest. The paintwork's really good on it. The action I like. Good figure. Let's go to Shafi.
The choice of body is wrong. I don't know. I know people say, did the splash and stuff like that, but I think this would have been one where you could have utilized the earthquake and typhoon body again.
Yeah.
And got closer to his shape. But apart from that, I love it. I think it's a great figure.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense.
You'd probably have to redesign the whole figure, wouldn't you? If you did the earthquake and typhoon. They've got like the molded singlets, and I think they might be right there. In fact, in the what we've done, I think it was the perfect choice. Actually,
true. It'd be tough to mold the skirt around those moving legs as well. So it'd be a whole different figure. That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shafi, we're going to come to you.
I think this is a great figure. This might be my favorite one in Series 7. It's very toyetic, isn't it? It's great. I probably like Kamala more than most people. Enjoyed his stuff with The Undertaker back then. And I actually like the body as well. With the arms up, it looks like an action pose as he's about to unleash his devastating splash.
Very much agree.
Adam?
Yeah, pretty much everything's been covered. The hands being in the palm kind of thing were really good for the splash. So the jumper motion kind of makes sense. And the shape's good. So yeah, toyetic.
And Philip?
Yeah, I like it. Good figure. I quite like jumpers randomly, but yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another lazy Hasbro stereotype that I don't like. People just go, it's a jumper. There's loads of figures that totally suit the jumping action. It's a part of the history of the figures.
Hawk is a prime example.
Looks great. I mean, Steamboat. If you're finisher or you're a high flyer, then the jumping action makes total sense. So I think that's another thing that people should reassess.
Yeah, man. Preach, man.
I'm here to right all the wrongs.
As you were saying a second ago, Shafi, obviously being the favourite one of Series 7, we'll come to it in a second, but this series is possibly the best series from Hasbro, in my opinion.
Overall.
Yeah. When we look at all the figures in a second, I think it's got banger after banger, in my opinion. I'll kickstart. So I think everything makes sense in this figure. 8.2 for me. Let's go to Clark.
I like it more after discussing it with you guys. So I always like this figure, but it's good to recognize when you weren't totally right on your initial reaction and opinion. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I like decimal sort of fives. So 8.5 for me.
Let's go to Adam.
Yeah, exactly the same score. It's just slightly better than Crush, in my opinion, so 8.5.
And Philip?
I'm going to go for 7.5 because I scored Crush at an 8 and he is below Crush for me. So maybe I went a bit too low with the Crush, but I can't change that now. So.
I might have scored a little bit higher, but because of the no moon belly, I've dropped a few points, but still very good. And I'm putting 8.6.
Shafi, have you given your score?
I think I'm going to go with a straight 9 on Kamala. I just love it.
Yeah.
I just think it's brilliant.
I do want to say the average score of Legion Hasbro was 8.1 for this. And I forgot to mention Crush was 8.08, so just below Kamala in terms of Legion Hasbro.
Well done, Legion Hasbro.
Chris Newton has put decent likeness and correct body type used. I built a custom cardboard casket for my Kamala. And then a little conversation with Deepak in the comments just asking if he's selling any of them, which doesn't look like he is.
This also looks great with the Elite mask, which fits nicely on. A little bit oversized, but it's a good. I think a lot of people have done that now. It's almost like become canon.
The Elite one looks great, to be fair. I think we reviewed it in the Legends series before. But yeah, the mask and accessories look great for that. I don't think this is missing anything. I know people always say with these, I know he wasn't saying this, but there was like, oh, it could have done with a mask, it could have come with this. Interesting, and no one really said that in the comments for this, which is good. People always want what they can't have.
Right, are we done?
We're done. What's next?
Right, move on to the next one, alphabetically. I used to think it was called Doc, but it's actually called Nails.
I wasn't doing an impression of Nails then, but I don't think I will. To be fair, I think
Boss man, we're gonna go back.
Isn't that from Lost?
Doc Brown from.
Oh right. That's the.
You might not appreciate my impression, but your kids are gonna love it.
Johnny only recently watched Back to the Future, didn't you?
Yeah, strangely, even though that's kind of what my wrestling gimmick's based upon, I did only watch it recently. It's kind of why my wrestling gimmick doesn't really match what the film is about, really, because I didn't even know what it was about.
It's a shame that, like, for your wrestling gimmick, you couldn't just come out with like a photograph with you dissolved in the picture, and then when you win the match, you show the same photograph, but you're fully formed on the picture now.
Yeah, I'll try to do that next match.
Yeah, we need editing. Give me a shout.
So when the fans are shouting "Go Johnny, go," it like kind of works on two levels.
Yes, love what you did there.
But only if he's being good.
Very good.
Back to Nails, not Johnny Flashback.
That's another. I Power of Love this figure. I think it's great. I've always been a big fan of it as a kid. I quite like the body shape for it. It's the sort of one that always splits the crowd, this figure, I always find. But I'm on the good side of it. Adam?
Crap. The face is abysmal. The face is terrible. Like, probably one of the worst Hasbro's face-wise. I do quite like the body shape. I think the orange is way too in-your-face orange compared to the kind of light, dusty orange that he used to wear.
Feeling brave, Adam.
I mean, I take all those criticisms on board, but I think the way we view wrestling figures has changed a lot over the last 20, 30 years with classic superstars and elites. I think as a kid, you don't want to see a dusty, faded out jumpsuit. You want to see something that pops, and that pops. Yeah. So I love it.
Sorry, Phil stepped me off here. Shafi, are you a fan of this figure or not?
Yeah, I mean, as Adam said, the face isn't great. I'm not a fan of the hair either. It just looks too smart. Like, to me, Nails always comes across as very unkempt, and I don't think it's necessarily. It's a bit of a wild man who's always sort of dribbling and grunting, and and I don't necessarily think that that's captured. The body, fine, no issues. Just the head and the hair is not great for me.
I quite like
about as good as the man was himself.
Poor Nails. He had a very limited run, didn't he? It was relatively good. He gave Virgil a bashing. I quite like the open shirt at the top. I quite like that.
I also got to mention that this kind of paint for the numbers on the front and back is terrible. It never stays if you play with them. So this one I actually opened from a mock because it's hard to find those complete.
It's the same with the skin tone on the hands as well.
Yeah, because I think the underneath is dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crap with Adam.
What's your opinion on this figure that is apparently hard as nails to find in good condition?
Who's next?
Phil, I was asking Phil what his opinion was.
I'm sorry. Yes. I think you've said it all already. It's too orange. The face is awful. It wouldn't be in my choice of Hasbro's if I could only take 20 in a suitcase, for example. So not for me.
Very specific.
Well, you can
Very
in that little carry case thing, can't you?
Not for 50 quid.
Well, 50?
Nope.
You're finding 50 quid 10 times that on certain groups. Legion of Hasbro, Morgan.
Oh, maybe I will buy it then.
Morgan Osgood has put 9. Everything about this figure is spot on for the wrestler. He was a brawler and didn't do much else, so this figure was high on my list when I was a kid playing with them. Which, yeah, high score, 9. Let's go and get some scores. Adam, what's your score for this male's figure?
The only redeemable factor is the kind of body shape on it, so probably a 5.4.
Very low.
Chevy?
7 for me, please.
It's not countdown. Phil?
7 for me as well, thank you.
Clark?
Yeah, I'm going to go 7. I like it for what it is, but it's like Phil says, it's not making any top 20 lists, is it?
And Johnny?
Yeah, since you never come to me for a comment, I'll give a
your
couple
time to
now.
shine, yeah.
Tale of two halves. I agree with Adam. The head's not good, and Muhammad made the better point of that. It's too neat to be the unkempt nails. One thing I really like, and I really like as a kid, is this left arm. It is so stiff. I used to use it as just to finish a move, like a big punch or a big clothesline. So for that reason, it does go up my estimations a little bit, and it is 7.4.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the unkempt. Unkempt? No, not unkempt. Spandau Ballet. Unkempt.
New word.
Yeah, they yeah, completely go. That has actually taken the points down a little bit. I was going to go 7.5, but I'll go 7.2 because I know what you mean. It's not as messy as it should be. It's dribbling. It's not a dribbling mess.
But Legion Hasbro in general scored much higher than we did. It's 7.88 average.
Generous.
And next we'll move on to something that didn't score too well and is often, regarded a bit like Clark, a bit unfairly dismissed in its own heart.
I've got Owen Hart. It was a bonus prize from the quiz 1 month.
What a prize.
What a jacket that is, Phil. That's whopping, that is. Not Phil, Clark.
Thanks.
Nice accessory.
Yeah, nice little custom jacket.
Which tag team is this from, Phil?
High voltage.
I do know this. It's from High Energy.
High Energy. If I was
the
a
new
tag
foundation.
team, well, the new foundation. Yeah, we found sort of reference.
Are they the exact same parachute pants as the new foundation?
Yeah.
I never remember. I can never figure it out.
We found reference pictures for both, I think.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. I think it's more like the new foundation because the High Energy, did they not have the braces?
Braces, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So I always put this next to the anvil. Yeah.
And they look good together, to be fair.
Yeah.
If I was in a tag team,
but the picture on the card is the High Energy one, isn't it?
yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's the confusion behind it. The figure is one thing and the card is another. But all in all, I think it's a good figure. The face wise, I can't make my mind up if it's good or not. Do you know what I mean?
I like it.
think it's
It
bad.
gets a lot of stick, but I don't get it. It looks like Owen Hart to me.
Yeah, it's hard to call.
I mean, for every wrestling figure, you can say it looks like somebody else, and I think sometimes people say that more for the laughing emoji reactions than actual facts. So, yeah, does it look like Ellen DeGeneres? Maybe.
Ellen,
Also
who?
looks like
Sorry.
Owen Hart.
Ellen.
Ellen
American
DeGeneres.
talk show host.
Oh, DeGeneres.
DeGeneres? I don't know. DeGeneres? Not being very
yeah.
generous with that pronunciation, but there you go.
I think I went with Marsha Brady from the Brady Bunch, only because of the hair. But yeah, I think hair-wise it makes sense. I see what you mean about the face. What they tried to do, obviously with Hasbro style things, they tried to make things cartoony. I think it has worked with this one because it's a figure end of the day, so it should look a bit toy-ish, shouldn't it?
It's always hard to do a figure that doesn't have other features like a moustache or a beard or a hat, or glasses. So the ones that don't have any other defining features always get the most stick, I think.
Yeah, like the Martel and Virgil and stuff like that.
But I mean, Mattel is still struggling with Brett's now, aren't they?
Yeah.
We went
This
backwards.
is a much simpler figure.
Yeah.
Adam, what's your view on Marsha Brady?
Yeah, I mean, the face is what it is. It's mediocre. It's neither good nor bad. I love the fact that it doubles up as High Energy or New Foundation. I love the action. Clothesline is probably my second favourite Hasbro action. Body shape, it's there or thereabouts. It might be a bit too podgy for him. But yeah, it's a solid figure.
And Philip?
Yeah, it's good. Good standard figure. Yeah, you've already said it. Yeah, they could have done better with the likeness, but they could have done with lots of them. So
Can we go to Phil first the next time, because he hasn't contributed anything yet? So
I don't think he's listening. Yeah, I agree.
I think Phil's got Talker's Jericho on in the background. He's just vibing to that.
I've not seen that right hand once in this whole recording.
You can see Bassett pop up now.
Oh no. I'm trying to read the comments on LOH as we watch along. Being the team player.
What are they saying? What's that OH saying? You're not trying to read it over.
Jay Moore says, I thought New Foundation is Anvil and Owen, and High Energy was Coco and Owen. I think we've clarified that.
Yeah,
I don't think
no one's denied that.
And
They
Jack
both had parachute pants in similar colours. I think that's why we're trying to figure out which attire that was from.
Either way, it's not high voltage, is it?
No.
Won't we touch? Won't we kiss?
Jack Lockie said that, that Nail's left arm can actually hold a nightstick.
There we go.
Oh yeah, I like that. Good point.
That's a good little touch.
Yeah. Colin Campbell said Adam Hamster's favourite comment of a customizer's dream for Owen Hart. He doesn't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said.
Well, it is a customizer's dream, technically, isn't it? Because the actual person is, anyway. In a way. Right, so let's cut across let's go for Kale. She's put 6. Would have preferred to win the Hart Foundation attire, which I think we can all mimic that, but I think for this era, this figure makes sense, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not too into when you say, oh, could have been this attire, could have been that. It represents the time in history, and he wore it for a good 2 year, maybe, well, maybe less, year and a half.
Yeah.
Still a valid figure and a valid timeline. And I don't even think the face is all that bad. It just gets some bad rap for no reason.
I like it.
It's a good figure, but very good.
And Bruce Connolly, not Brian, is put 7. This figure eluded me back in the day. So apparently, yeah, it's quite hard to get, according to some sources, this figure back in the day.
According to sources.
No, the source being not Brian Connolly. I've got his name ready. Mr. Connolly.
Yeah.
Scores, boys. Scores on the doors. Phil has come to you first.
I gave it a 6 when I was reviewing it the other day for the aforementioned reasons, and I think I'm going to stick with a 6 on this one.
Shafi.
I think it's Nell's region, so I'm going to give it a 7. I know that obviously you guys have said, you shouldn't judge it on what it could have been, but I mean, even for what it should be, I don't think that they've really got across the parachute pant effect. Just looks like he's wearing normal tights. So I'm going to go with a 7 on that one.
Adam?
Slightly higher from me. I think there's more positives than negatives, so 7.3.
I'll go for a 7.5. And Clark, what's yours?
I think I scored this low on the group because I didn't want to appear to sort of be biased. But it's not a bad figure. It's not great. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not one of my favourites. So it's another 7 out of 10.
It's just fair enough. Johnny?
Yeah, for me, this is one of my favourites as a kid. I remember, well, I don't even know if I remember. Yeah, I do remember, but it was on video as well. Where
short story.
I went to get this on my 8th birthday, I believe, with some birthday money, and yeah, it was quite special. I got taught out of getting nails by my dad, but then Santa Claus came and delivered nails later, so that was cool. And I don't think it's bad at all. In fact, I think it's very good, and it's 8.8.
Wow.
You can do a good hurricanrana with it, and also you can do a good sharpshooter in a way too.
It's also quite nicely posed for like the drop kick, just with the shape of the body. When it goes up for a drop kick, which is one of his signature moves, it looks good.
And a little bum flip. You can.
Yes, yeah.
Feeling fruity. Who's up next?
Well, I'll just finish up by saying the Legion of Hasbro scored this very poorly, and it's 6.52 out of 10.
I don't think the next one's going to score very poorly.
Yeah, probably not. So the next one is the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
It's a bad guy.
I'm trying to do the noise of the.
Got to do a quick shout out for Johnny Smith's freestyling, rapping over the theme tune the other day. That was tremendous. One of the best things I've heard this year.
Nice one.
I haven't actually gone back and heard that yet. I saw it come up and I heard the first bit, but I was in bed, and so I'll watch it later on, Johnny. I promise. Not while I'm in bed.
What you do in your bed is your business.
Phil Rapley, speaking of.
Cool. Well, I scored this one very high in the group. I think I gave it the perfect 10.
You did.
I did. However, I'm not getting. We've just discussed it. I'm not getting caught up on should have attires, but I think I'm going to say anyway. The yellow would have been better. But it is a very good figure. The writing on the back of it, and on the pants, and on the front of the pants, and on the. Has he got razors on the knee pads? I can't remember.
Yep. Double blades.
Yeah, double blades. He's got the chain. He's just a great figure. And I think Adam was saying earlier, the clothesline is one of my favourite action moves of them. Probably this my second favourite as well. So good. Never had him as a kid. And didn't realise the Series 10 purple one even existed until a couple of years ago. I love that figure. So yeah.
Yeah, I was
paying attention.
Shafi.
What's not to like about this one? Loads of detail, brilliant accessory, pretty good face. It's Razor Ramon. I don't think you would have any issue picking this one out of a lineup and knowing exactly who it was. Face like could maybe be, I don't know, maybe slightly better, but it's pretty good. So yeah, I think I scored this one highly as well. I certainly will tonight.
Yeah, Adam, chomping at the bit to get an opinion in.
No, I was just gonna agree basically. I do think obviously I judge a lot by backing cards, and on the picture on the backing card is in the yellow attire. So I don't like the fact that it doesn't match. I love the face. I think the fact that they've got his little lip up is absolutely brilliant. There isn't anything on my trunks. where Phil said there was writing. Is that
Yeah. Should say razor.
The problem is with this, it's very faint, the writing, and it does come off very easily. And it's, that's probably one of the very major downfalls of the figure, unfortunately. Mine's quite faded. Yours doesn't have anything. And obviously the back of the vest as well is quite easy to rub off. Sorry, I'll save some of my further thoughts for my
That's
turn.
all right. Just a bit.
Carry on, sorry.
A bit too much neck for me on this one. It's a bit of a bulgy neck.
Okay.
There we go. It's your turn to talk about old giraffe now. Johnny?
Adding to that, I don't think the attire's accurate. I don't think he ever wore the black pads and the boots with the red trunks. It was always like red on red on red. And it could have had the yellow on the front. It was always black at the back on the vest, but it had the yellow or it had the red or whatever colour he was sporting on that day. And it's missing the left pad, which was always a colourful one. So the attire is just very inaccurate for me. So I think a lot of people sort of overlooked that a bit. And about the writing being hard to recognise if it's been in the sun or being used a bit. So I don't think it's perfect.
That kind of paint falls off all of the figures, doesn't it? It's like the Macho King,
Earthquake.
Trying to think who else
is all right actually compared to this. I just don't think it's very faint. It's just too faint. With the Macho King, it's quite full on the gold.
The $1 Million Man, Series 9, the dollar signs, they're another ones that kind of go missing quickly as well. I think it's just that kind of paint, all the silver and gold paint, just it's like silky or something. I don't know.
Oh, Matador.
Yes, yeah, Matador. I mean, it's weird. It's weird having the hole in the hand. Obviously, it's a reused Macho King, Macho Man body. I love the little curl down from the top. I think that's great detail. I do kind of feel like, obviously, it's hard to see it as any other action, but I would like to have seen it as maybe like a Hogan Slam, or even the Texas Tornado. I've seen some customs like that. You can just about do the Razor's Edge with this, but it's a great figure. It's one of the best.
Let's go to Legion of Hasbro. Steve Holwell, he's a 10 plus. Oh, a new category. For the bad guy figure, it's the best of the lot. So a lot of 10s flying in, a lot of Nathan Owens giving it an 8, a lot of 9s. So yeah, very highly scored figure. This bad boy or guy. I'll kickstart the scores from us. I'm going to give it a flat 9. Only downside to it, I think I agree with whoever said about his head. I think it could do a bit, like it looks like him, but there's something missing from it, and I can't think what. Might be the beard.
Got a beard?
Yeah, so maybe it didn't have a beard. Beard's too full on.
Yeah, I agree.
Adam, what's your score?
I'm going to copy you again, I'm afraid, but it was in my head beforehand.
Was it? We wrote
not
it down.
A perfect figure, but it's pretty goddamn sweet, so 9.
Shafi?
Like when Bassett tried to date a German student, the answer is, of course, 9.
Phil?
So originally I went with 10.
Sticking with 10?
Give it that because I think there is better Razor to come later. Spoiler. I am going for 9.5.
I'm going to agree with Phil on the exact same premise.
Johnny?
And I'm going to be the odd one out. Even from the Legion of Hasbro, scored at 9.34, which is probably one of the biggest averages we've had from them. Due to everything I said about inaccurate attires, the face being a little off, the beard being a bit too full on, and the paintwork being a bit shoddy, I'm going to give it an 8. Straight 8.
You bastard.
I mean, the chains, though, that's a great addition, isn't it?
Yeah, probably would have been a 7 if it wasn't for the chains.
Touche.
Right. The last one of the series. It is Shawn Michaels, White Pants.
I'll start on this because this is my favourite figure. This is honestly, I got this figure from a car boot sale for 20p. It was denim car boot sale, in case anyone's wondering. Well, I think I got it. My brother picked it up for 20p and then made me do housework and chores in exchange for playing with it. By it, I mean the figure, just to clarify. They're not all Cornish are the same. So yeah, I have fond memories of this figure. Shafi,
I don't have any memories.
block them out.
Well, I'm tempted to go check out Denim Car Boot Sale now. Certainly a lot closer to me than it is you. I think this is probably, like, looks-wise for me, this is probably one of the best Hasbros out of the lot. Clearly distinguishable Shawn Michaels. Eye-catching attire, the tattoo details, great. Probably the only things I would change, maybe the hair's a bit too blonde. It could definitely be a bit dirtier. Maybe the glasses could be, maybe silver version. But, I mean, we're sort of nitpicking. It's a very good Hasbro. Yeah, I think, and even though it's maybe not as valuable, I think it's better than the black one, the Black Pants version.
Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah, I would agree with everything. It was one of my favourites when I was a kid. I kind of thought people might have been saying that it was quite difficult to do the super kick with, but I think his move at the time of production was the teardrop suplex, so it's actually quite a good one to do that with. The only thing that disappointed me slightly was the lack of detail on the gloves. Like, 'cause he didn't have full-on gloves; they had to put gaps in. The sunglasses, I don't generally like them on figures. I can deal with this one. It's still not brilliant, but I can deal with it due to his iconic look. What a great figure!
Yeah, can't really add much to what everyone's already said. The tattoos are a nice addition. There was a point in my life where I took this figure and my Series 4 Bret Hart everywhere, and they fought everywhere. Everywhere I went, they were with me.
Just like in real life, then.
Yeah, but the red and white is so iconic. When I started watching wrestling, that's what he wore. Again, got to agree with the Sultan. I think it's a much more striking attire and more iconic than the more expensive black and silver. Sometimes I think the value gets in the way of our opinion on what it is, but that to me is nearly a perfect figure.
And Phil looks like he's regretting suggesting this to me.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, I never had this Shawn Michaels as a kid. In fact, I didn't even know it existed. And
were you even ever a kid?
I was ever. One day I was a kid.
You have that hairline.
Did you ever like Hasbros?
Did you like wrestling? Did you like WWF?
No.
If it was a denim car boot sale.
I had a Kingdom of Gloobs. No, so bear in mind, the first time I saw this was through adult eyes, having had a Rockers Shawn Michaels for all my childhood, being the Heartbreak Kid. This was amazing to see in my face. I was like, wow, they actually made a Shawn Michaels, and I'm so gutted I never had this. And when I did start recollecting, it was, I think, the first one I paid proper money, if you know what I mean, like
above £20.
It was one I went for and got because I wanted it, and it was amazing. So I look at it now and I think it is the perfect figure. I agree with Adam. I don't like glasses on figures. That's what puts me off the Bretts. It really annoys me, but yeah, you can live with it. Great figure. Great. I wish I had it as a kid. I really wish I had that as a kid. You lucky bastards.
Oh, it's 20p. It's still worth all the chores. Johnny.
Yeah, I feel the anguish that Phil did. I never had this as a kid either. So it is very sad that I didn't, because it is an excellent figure and I would have loved to have had it as a kid. I kind of just, used my imagination and pretended the Rocker Shawn Michaels was this Shawn Michaels, but it's hard to do, really, isn't it? The only thing wrong with it is that it doesn't have any holes in the gloves, really. Could have maybe had a heart logo on, but I think that's for the detail that Hasbro put in. It's probably not needed as such. I think it's an excellent figure. The glasses, I think, actually makes it look better. and I'm fine with the hair color. Although I guess they could have put some streaks or something in if you really wanted to go with detail.
Well, Justin Clinch has said that he had this figure when he was younger, but he made the mistake of swapping it for a shiny Charizard, which we've all made some bad decisions.
Comment, and I was wondering how much a shiny Charizard would be worth now.
Probably more than Shawn Michaels figure.
Probably more than Shawn Michaels himself. To be fair.
Well, no, it depends on the condition. I've got a shiny Charizard.
Shawn Michaels, he's not in a good condition at the moment, Clark.
No.
Have you got a shiny Charizard, or are you just saying that?
I have got a complete set of the first.
Can we get a Pikachu
Pokemon? They're at my in-laws. When I'm up at Christmas, I'll show you.
How much do you think it's worth?
I honestly don't know, because I think if they're not the first editions or the fossil cards or anything like that, they're quite common.
Do you remember they released the Dark series? Do you remember that Dark Charizard?
Yeah, I don't know much about Pokemon, but I did look not that long ago, and I think if it's just a regular one, I think they're fairly easily available.
Just to get this right, you collect Pokemon cards.
No,
a nerd. What a nerd! You're an adult.
No, listen. When I was about 13, I used to go to Wimborne Market. We're talking about markets again now. Wimborne Market in Dorset with my sisters, and my sisters were kids, and we started buying them. And being the sort of addictive personality that I am, my sisters soon lost interest, and I had to complete all 150. So that's what I did.
Scouring the groups for a Jigglypuff.
Be a real man and collect dollies.
Well, I do that too. I grew up and gave up the Pokemon cards, put them in a box somewhere.
He's gone.
We've upset him.
Cool. No, I'll tell you what it is. My battery's down to 10%, so I'm going to have to plug it in. So you might, my audio quality might change. Sorry.
Clark Gilmore's blasting off again. Watch this Pokemon. Get the reference.
Back to the real thing. Back to Shawn Michaels.
Back to HBK. Let's get some scores before Clark leaves us. Clark, what's your score?
Can go first then. Yeah.
I've plugged the charger in, but I haven't got the headphones, so that's what I'm saying. It's a different mic now that you're hearing me through. Does it sound much different?
It's all good.
Better.
No, yeah, it sounds.
I'm going to give it a 9.5. I can't give it a perfect 10 just because it's Shawn Michaels, just because the details is slightly simple. I think there are figures out there with that you get more for your money, whether it's accessories or just a bit more, logos and stuff like that. So it's a 9.5. It's up there in my favourites.
Yeah, Clark. The only thing wrong with this figure is that it's not Bret Hart.
Well, yeah, that's it pains me to give Shawn Michaels praise in this day and age, but put myself back in, the 90s when I used to play with this constantly. It's a 9.5.
Bret Hart friends.
No. Shafi, what's your score?
Like I said already, I really like this one. I actually won this one on card in the quiz, and as I wasn't part of the admin team at the time, I didn't feel obliged to give it away, so I've still got this one.
It'll be for sale soon.
9.5 for me. 9.5 on HBK. The second best there is, the second best there was, and the second best there ever will be.
Who's top? Nails.
Live with that.
Rapley, what's your score?
I would give it a 9 if it was Brett. I'm going to give it a 9.5. And I'm going to say, I'm going to test the LOH comments here, and I'm going to say HBK over Bret Hart any day.
Robbie already does this like once a month just to piss me off.
Robbie does it to wind you up.
It's pointless.
It is pointless.
Anyone who watched WWF in the 90s and didn't like Bret and Shawn is a liar, or they watched WCW.
I was never really a Bret fan. I said this before, Johnny. No,
but to be fair, Jamie, you like BCAs.
Aren't you a little bit young to be talking about Hasbro's?
No, I was born in 1990, which is when Hasbro's were also born. So same age.
That what you
You
got
want-
for a present when you were born?
Yeah, didn't you? Did your family not love you?
Wills, you once said, and I'll never forget this, being born in 1990, is that when you were born? 1990?
Yeah,
You once said that you think Sting is overrated
stand by it.
and had been alive for how many years when he was wrestling? You crazy man.
Well, I stand by it. Stand by it.
Last week.
Yeah, not for me. Sting. Anyway, 9.9
Anyway.
on this figure because
Yeah.
it's a good
What?
looking figure. It's better than Sting.
Did you say 9.9, Jim?
9.9.
9.9.
9.9. It's so close to the perfect 10. All it's missing, as I think it's been pointed out already, it's not Sting. No, sorry, the gloves. A bit of detail on the gloves is all it's missing.
Earrings, if it's in his entrance gear.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the sunglasses being on as well. I'm fine with being ring ready on the bottom half and not ring ready on the top half. It makes a good figure.
Okay.
Is that right with you? Yeah.
You're going to
Take it to
nominate someone else to
a
give it a score.
7-person vote.
I don't think did Adam didn't give a score yet, did he?
No, yeah, no. Works as a kid, works as an adult, 9.6.
Oh, wow. Snap, 9.6 for me too. Just think it's missing that bit from the gloves and, yeah, a couple of small points off because it's Shawn Michaels. No, so Legion Hasbro scored this 9.16 out of 10 overall, so less than the Razor, but second best of the series.
Jack Lockie has made a big call here. He said, Silver Shades Brett is the best ever Hasbro figure without a doubt. Apparently he's not taking any questions on that. That's
Full stop.
We don't commit to saying which is the best Hasbro until we've been through them all.
Yeah.
for them all, which at the moment is Bossman 3.
But speaking about Silver Shades Brett, obviously I'm not going to be on the next episode after this performance. Series 8 is, I'm going to put it out there now for the next time. Series 8 is my favorite series, but Series 7 is pretty close. It just doesn't have the same level of characters. I think there's a few too many mid-carders.
But there was only 4 Series 8 people, wasn't there?
No, there's Brett, Taker,
Yoko.
Perfect, Lex Luger, Bam Bam, Yoko.
Oh yeah.
So there's at least 6.
Way off
Yeah,
there,
so-
Phil.
So
I
the
don't know
exact
how I
same
got this
number,
job.
the exact same number as this series, in fact.
Oh, God.
Grant
I'll
Leon
go
has
sleep.
put 10 perfection. Jason Clements has put, like your Razor review, only topped by Series 10 Black Tights version. Spoilers for Jason Clements, but he's giving it a 10 anyway. A lot of 10s flying about for our Shawn.
Everyone's excited for Series 8. Everyone's excited for Series 8.
Yeah, I mean,
What,
Series
what I
8,
don't understand is how can you give something a 10 and then say it's topped by something else?
Correct.
Like that's used on the Meltzer scale. Like, it doesn't work. You know,
That's
Jack
it.
Lockie said this is a straight 10, but Brett's better. You know, Jason Clemens
you
said this
got-
is
I
a
don't know.
10, but the black one's better.
Maybe that's another discussion altogether. You know, putting repaints up against each other and deciding who's the best, which one's the best.
Yeah,
A conversation for another day.
an elimination tournament of repaints. Is that what your suggestion? Just
Not at all, but if that's what you're going to do, I'll tune in.
who hasn't given their scores yet?
That's it.
Everyone.
That's everyone.
Oh, lovely stuff. Well, we're all finished then, aren't we, boys? Lovely. So yeah, that's it for retro review. Any other further points on the series as a whole from any of you chaps?
Yeah, I just think it was a really good series, and I think the backing cards, the fact they changed it from the blue to yellow this time round, was a good choice. And I'm not usually one to comment on the packaging that Jamie
Packaging.
likes me saying, but
packaging.
it did really pop. The yellow was the absolute best in terms of looks, in my opinion, on the card.
Lovely stuff. Should we do
I agree with that. The yellow cards look amazing. I started collecting them just for that reason that they look so good, and they're all kind of affordable. You know, they're all sort of £200 or under. Pick a lot around for 100, 150. I like this series because it's kind of like signaling of an emerging generation. You know, with Shawn, Razor,
Nails.
you know, yeah, no, but like Crush. You know, Crush could have had a intercontinental run. You know, Owen goes on to do great things. So I think there's a lot of good characters that are coming through.
The potential series.
I started collecting the series as well, but then people started beating me in the quiz for them.
On that Shawn Michaels as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the first one you lost it on. Oh.
Yeah.
Gutted, wouldn't you?
It's now on my wall above the bedroom TV.
Nice.
But that won't be happening from 2022.
Why, you moving house?
Right, space. But boys, yeah, I think that's the end. That's our final segment, which means that this one-off live episode, I say one-off, we might do it again next year, has come to a close. So thanks, Legion of Hasbro. Clark, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us. I'm glad I could make it. I was nearly going to swerve it and watch the Liverpool game, but you know we'd already won the group, so yeah. I'm a bit annoyed I didn't put my Legion of Hasbro t-shirt on. There's not many opportunities where I'd feel it was appropriate, so we'll have to do it all again.
We probably won't invite you back, but yeah, you'll be first on the list. Rapley, thank you for your time and for keep up to date with the comments, probably.
And staying awake.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, it's been a long. Do you know I have to leave at 4:30 in the morning to get to work? It is crazy. I know. Woe is me. I just want to say thank you to the high teens numbers that have stayed with it throughout.
Record figures for us.
Literally 2.5 hours. So that's really good. Really
I'd like to thank my wife for allowing me to do this instead of cooking dinner and spending time with her. So,
I'd like to thank Phil's wife for being alive.
I'd like to thank her as well. She brought me 2 cans of lemonade. People probably noticed me drinking lemonade. I don't drink lemonade, but for some reason she brought me 2 cans and I've drank them both.
Poison.
So that, yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe it's get rid of me for Wills. One day, I was thinking about this the other day. Someone is going to stumble across me and you talking about my wife, genuinely thinking there is something going on between me, you, and my wife.
Well, there's not.
And one day, I'm going to have to tell this story to people, but I'm not going to. I've decided I'm going to leave it to people's imaginations instead.
Open-ended. Not in that way.
What do you think happened?
And thanks to you guys for having us. I know that you've been, basically using our group for free for a year or two for content. So nice to let us on as a little thank you. So cheers.
Hey, we once there was a full episode on the quiz itself. That's a bit of publicity for you guys, isn't it?
Mutually appreciated.
Yeah, well, it's good. Also, we can now do more collaborating, isn't it? Oh, and Shafi, thanks for your time as well. I was going to say a minute saying thanks, and then Phil cut me off.
No, thank you. Very much looking forward to pit my wits against you both for the final time in the quiz this month, and joining in with FWL next year to see if I can beat Fenton in that as well.
I reckon you will.
I look forward to the challenge. Awesome.
As admin, we are allowed to win all the prizes that we want. And we do.
Not in December.
Not in December. That's the rule that Adam set.
Can we just say quickly as well, we have got, I can't remember what the day is. This is terrible of me. We have got Christmas karaoke coming up on LOH. And
the 18th.
Take part in this.
Saturday, the 18th of December.
Should we do a Destiny's Child rendition, the three of us? We could do Independent Woman.
No.
Supremes.
The Supremes. The Bee Gees.
Oh, yeah. You've got a bit of a Bee Gees thing already.
I'm barely staying alive, Clark. But yeah, Adam, thank you for your time as well. And Johnny as well.
Thank you to the LOH crew.
And all the watchers and listeners and whatever at home, thank you for your time. And yeah, we'll see you guys shortly.
Thanks, Jono.
Yeah, thanks for cutting me off.
I said thanks. What does he want? Does he want a full? We sing him out, does he?
I just wanted to mention, Joey Knife figures are still available.
There we go.
There you go, Joey. There's your plug.
Thanks, Joe.
There's your plug.
Checks in the mail.
Merry
See you soon.
Christmas.